Hey everybody, this is Patty. Welcome to the Witching Hour. I have a fabulous guest for you today. He's a witch, he's an author. He just came on with us with the Witches Movie Coven, and you're going to love him. Welcome, Thumper Forge. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm very, very excited about this.
Yeah, me too, to have you on because you know witchcraft in many, many forms. You have a book out also with Llewellyn and some other stuff.
Okay.
We know each other through Heather, both
Yes.
from the Witches Movie Coven and Llewellyn. So for anybody who doesn't know you yet, tell us a little bit about you, your path. How did you become?
Who I am today. Let's see where to begin with that. I started out kind of on my path in the early 2000s, where I was in my late 20s. I had explored paganism, I'd explored Wicca, and I got it into my head that I needed to find out where it all came from. And so 9 months after that, I was in a different state, suddenly getting initiated into a Gardnerian coven. And so that was my background for a very long time, was Gardnerian Wiccan. That was my almost entire focus. At the same time, I had a growing interest in Discordianism, which I first read about in Drawing Down the Moon. There was a section on Discordianism and the founders of that religion being the modern worship of Eris, the Greek goddess of discord, which I thought sounded amazing. I didn't know any Discordians, and the coven that I was a part of didn't have any leanings that way. So it was just something I kind of explored on my own for a number of years. I eventually kind of fell down a chaos magic rabbit hole and started learning about chaos magical theory and that approach to magic. And somewhere in there, I ended up in the Minoan Brotherhood as well, which is an initiatory Wiccan tradition for men who love men. So I've been kind of all over the place, and my personal practice really reflects that. It is kind of a conglomeration of all those elements that have inspired me so far.
I think that's beautiful. Again, and I just use the word eclectic in what I'm doing. I'm just not so initiated into proper groups like you are. But for somebody who doesn't know, they're going, if I've got a lot of new folks and stuff listening in, and they're going, okay, chaos magic. I'm not going to expect you to go, what is chaos magic? But tell everybody little bits of kind of what chaos magic is, how it sort of differs.
Okay.
In its practice.
Well, chaos magic it's not a tradition per se. It's a specific approach to magic. It's looking at magic a particular way. It is experimental in nature, and it's got an emphasis on getting results and repeatable results. So unfortunately, it's not like learning how to shoot chaos from your fingers. That would be amazing. I have not discovered that yet. But it's just sort of an empirical approach to magical practice, trying different things, not being afraid to think outside of the box, or really putting any limitations on yourself in terms of what you can do or believe. And then when you find something that works, seeing if you can get those same results again until you find something that works really well for you. The main, I guess, guiding tenet of chaos magic is the idea of using belief as a tool. Of being able to shift our beliefs around to get the results we want. The way I've described it to people before is, in eclectic witchcraft, we might kind of arrange our practice around our beliefs. We might sort of have some fundamental beliefs about the divine or about nature or the universe, and we're going to build our practice around that. Wherein within chaos magic, we will find a practice and figure out something that we like or that works for us, and sort of tailor our beliefs around that. Like, how do I need to think in order to get this to work for me? Hopefully that's making sense so far.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So,
good. Yay.
So how does it we live in crazy times. We know that. And it just, 2024 is crazy times. How does your practice in all its chaotic and eclectic ways, how does it help you in your day-to-day life? Because everybody's going, I'm trying to get through life right now. This witchcraft thing seems kind of interesting, but how is your life different or better, or is it because of these practices?
I've even though chaos magic and especially Discordianism both kind of have these reputations for being a little differently sane, I get a lot of stability out of them. every morning I start my day off with just sort of devotional prayers, which are not, I'm not like in a robe in a temple or anything. It's just a very quick check-in, just kind of touch base with the gods that I venerate, and kind of ask them to keep me going today or keep me focused on whatever I need to achieve. And I do that knowing that I'm going to be thanking them at the end of the day, which helps me kind of stay on my own path and do what I need to do. And so at the end of the day, I'm able to say thank you to all those same gods for helping me out, knowing that I was able to help myself quite a bit, but I was able to do that with the understanding that they were helping too.
So it helps you in your day-to-day practice. You wake up
Yes.
with, again, it gives you focus and purpose of what you're going to do that day. So tell us a little bit. Are you a Virgo?
I am a Virgo.
So you are the book Virgo Witch,
I
right?
am, and I have my copy right here, my official copy. I was the co-author of Virgo Witch with Ivo Dominguez Jr., who he was our anchor author. So he wrote half of 12 books, and then a different author of each sign was commissioned to come in and write the second half, where Ivo wrote all the really cool astrological stuff and all the kind of the mechanics of each particular sign. And then the other authors were there to sort of show what it was like to be of that sign in our day-to-day life, or how we kind of navigate the world around us as our sign.
I think that's great. I don't know anybody else who has done that because I'm a Libra and I've got the book Libra Witch, and I know they all go out there. I think that's fabulous. So
we did not know that, there were 12 authors, and we were not told who the other authors were. Ooh. But which was not supposed to be. I don't think it was a big secret. It didn't get out. But like one by one, I would be chatting with somebody and I would say, "Are you the Gemini witch?" And they would say, "Yes." "Are you the Virgo witch?" Like, "Yes." And so it ended up being this sort of secret cabal of witches who got to be a part of that series.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, they're great little books, and they're nice little compact little books, but they're packed with all sorts of really great information. So when you were talking about it, how does Virgo or not, does your astrological sign affect either your practice or your craft or anything like that?
It presents unique challenges because for the longest time I did not believe in astrology in any way, shape, or form, specifically because I was a Virgo for a very long time. Yeah. And I actually had a boss years ago who was very into astrology, and I made a comment one time about, I'm not a typical Virgo. I don't meet the stereotype, so I don't think astrology has much basis to it. And she said, "Well, are you organized or messy?" And I said, I'm actually pretty messy. I'm a kind of a slob." And she said, "Well, do you have a desk at home in your room?" And I said, "Yes, I have a desk." And she said, "Does everything have a place on the desk?" And I said, "Of course." And she said, "What happens if one thing gets out of place?" And I said, "Well, then it's ruined." And she said, "That's because you're a Virgo." And so that kind of changed my perspective on it, where, I can be very much a perfectionist. And if I can't do something perfectly the first time, then I don't want to do it because I'm never going to get it right. So I've had to kind of fight against that mentality as an adult, especially when it comes to witchcraft and magical practice, because some things I can pick up very easily, and other things that I really want to be good at, I have to work really, really hard to get any kind of proficiency. And the things that I pick up easily, I will just take off with those, and I will ignore everything else because I'm good at this one thing. That's all that matters. So I've had to really learn to pace myself in terms of, taking things step by step and celebrating little victories instead of throwing a fit because I'm not the Grand High Supreme Wizard of North America.
Oh, that's funny. Wow. And I'm only one sign past you. I'm a Libra, and my desk is piled 3 feet high. It's too organized. I can't handle it. I have to start throwing things on it. Mm-hmm. That's so goofy. And we're only like 1 month apart.
Exactly. Even when my desk is a train wreck, though, when other people see it, they're like, how can you function? Where's the report from 3 weeks ago? Well, it's right here under the pile of reports from last week. Like, I know where everything is. Even when it does get out of control. I still have an idea of everything has a place. It's just not necessarily a visually pleasing place.
That's true. And I know you're a writer in many other ways too. You write for different publications, right? You have some other books out.
I have shown up in a couple of other books, which I have here as well.
Yeah.
I went on a tear to find the Virgo book. I knew I had a copy somewhere. The first book that I was in recent years is The Gorgon's Guide to Magical Resistance, which is a sequel to, I think it was We Are Aradia, as it was called, or, oh, I can't remember the name of the first one, but it's a series of books on magical activism.
Wow.
And The New Aradia was the first one. And these were books that were edited by Laura Tempest Zakroff, who's a wonderful writer and artist.
Yes.
And so these were just, they came out through Revelor Press, and they are just little guides to magical activism of different ways people can employ their witchcraft towards resistance and towards, community and the things that sometimes can feel very hopeless in our current climate. Because witches have always been historically were the ones who were sort of the resistance fighters.
Yeah.
And Tempest just wanted to make sure we all remembered that. So I had an essay in that. And then pardon me?
How timely.
Yes, very much. I have an essay in there on Laverna, who is the ancient Roman goddess of thieves and plagiarists. And she's mentioned in the original Gospel of Aradia, or the Gospel Aradia, the Gospel of the Witches, which was published in 1899 by Charles Godfrey Leland. And way in the back, there's a little story about this goddess of thieves and plagiarists. But in reading her story, she was very much a goddess of liberation, especially women's liberation, and she was a goddess of bodily autonomy. So I felt like that was something that she was somebody who should be included in a book on magical resistance. And speaking of misunderstood goddesses, the other recent publication that I was in was Modern Witchcraft with the Greek Gods by Jason Mankey and Estrella Taylor. And that is a book on, really the title says it all. It's Greek mythology and Greek religion tailored to a modern witch today. And I got tapped to write a little piece on Eris, the goddess of discord. So I have a little some stories about her and some recipes in there. And that's a wonderful book. If you feel at all drawn to the Greek gods or Greek pantheon, that's a wonderful, wonderful resource.
Yeah, I think I actually have that one. I could have grabbed it over here. But, oh, well, you have it, and that's good.
Yeah.
That is fabulous. Now, I see in your bio that you actually do readings for people. In readings, I don't understand. What is a geomantic or a lithomantic reading?
So geomancy is a form of divination that involves, I wish there was an easy way to explain geomancy. There's really not, but it's a binary system of divination where random numbers are generated and broken down into even or odd, which translates to 1 dot or 2 dots. And those binary numbers are used to make figures, and then those figures are plugged into an astrological chart.
Sounds complicated.
It is. It's not as complicated as it's made out to be. There's just not a great way to explain it.
So is it by birth dates or anything like astrological?
It's more similar to like horary astrology, where you'd be asking a specific question and then putting that question into an astrological chart. It's very good for yes/no questions, for like favorable or unfavorable. And you can really get as in-depth with it as you need to. I do a lot of just kind of one figure readings, like generate 4 numbers, sometimes just using dice. Originally, people would make random marks in the sand with a stick. That was how it got its start several thousand years ago. But people use dice or coins, anything that you can just get an even or odd number with. And you generate 4 numbers, and then you break that down to even and odd, and then you have a 4-line figure made up of either 2 dots or 1 dots per line. And then there is some crazy addition that I never really understood how I figured out how to do. But you do some algebra basically, and then you generate one final figure that can give you a yes no answer, and then you can take all the figures from that you've generated so far and plug all of them into an astrological chart to kind of figure out where the querent is and where the person asking the question, and then you look at which astrological house would hold the answer to their question. Like if somebody was asking about money, you would look at the figure in the second house and then see how those figures interact with each other. Lithomancy is much easier to explain. And it is just divination with stones. Basically taking 13 stones, throwing them on the ground, and just seeing how they interact with each other.
Kinds of stones, like a quartz or this or that, or just doesn't matter? Stones.
It really doesn't matter. As what I have found is, as long as the stones are kind of roughly the same shape and size and can be easily differentiated by color, then you're good to go. Anytime somebody asks me about lithomancy, I end up telling the story where when it was first introduced to me, it was sort of pitched as like this ancient practice of the British Isles, and somewhere on a blasted heath, Saxon witches were flinging rocks at each other to see the future. And I started kind of messing with it and realized I was getting pretty clear answers. And so I started researching it, because that is where the Virgo in me really, like, the hyperfocus kicks in. And I was able to trace it all the way back to 1978.
Ooh,
I know, truly ancient. But in Witchcraft for Tomorrow, Doreen Valiente had a little section on lithomancy. And she said you use 13 stones, and 7 of them represent the classical planets, and 5 of them represent kind of personal areas of life, like home, love, luck. And then 1 stone is the magic stone, and it's your indicator. And she didn't give any sources. She just said, this is what witches do. Because it was 1978, and you could do that. You didn't have to have a bibliography. And so she just said, this is the way it is. And so when people think of lithomancy, that's really the system that they have in mind. There's always been, and especially in Greek mythology, there are stories of people telling the future with rocks, or having a magic stone that they used for prognostication. But modern lithomancy really traces back to Valiente, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with something being modern, especially if it works. And it just turned out to be a system that worked really, really well for me.
That's fabulous. Again, I don't know anybody who has done either of those. It sounds too many numbers for me. I'm going to stick to cards or runes or bones.
Geomancy it's like it is so hard. It's when you know how to do it, it like takes a while to figure it out, and then it's very simple to do. It's that explaining that's so tough. Where lithomancy is just, you throw the stones on the ground and you get a yes or no, and then you can kind of see what the planets are doing, and you're good to go.
Okay, that's good. So do you use that? I don't often ask people, do you read yourself? Do you do you ask yourself questions for you other than reading for other people? Do you?
I do. I especially with lithomancy, I try to keep questions that I ask for myself very simple, very yes, no. And I have conditioned myself to whatever answer I get, that is the answer, and we're not going to question it.
Oh.
Because it is very easy when reading for oneself to go, well, what if this way? Well, what if I phrased it a little differently? Well, let me try again, but I'm going to really clear my mind this time before and it's easy to trick ourselves when we do that. And it's easy to see what we want to see versus reading for somebody else where the answer we're not as invested.
Right.
So I just tend to stick more to the yes, no. And once I get my answer, I'm like, that's what we're rolling with.
That's because I just started thinking about, I realized I do not read in ever form. I do not read for myself. And so many people I have on the show, they read for themselves. And I'm like, why don't I? And I think I'll go in, I'll go deep. I will meditate. But I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe I should read for myself. That's why I ask you. So, but my whole thing is like, well, no, I got the wrong answer there. What?
One other thing I do when I read for myself is like, I'm not great with cartomancy. I've never been able to read tarot. I've tried, it just doesn't click for me. But I do like Lenormand divination,
Mhm.
which is like old German playing cards.
Yeah.
So I really have always been kind of fascinated with Lenormand. I don't know the system very well. But because of that, I can get very accurate readings for myself, because I have to really just go with, if I pull a card and it's, oh, the sun, okay, the sun, that's a good card. This is a favorable. If I pull the clouds or the coffin, I can't be like, well, in some cases, it's like, no, I don't have the experience with it to fudge the answers.
That's good. Yeah, it does seem to be making quite a renaissance, because it's something I had never even heard of for years of
Yeah.
stuff. Now it's like Letterman, yeah.
I had the high priest of my original coven loved tarot, and if he loved tarot, the rest of us were going to love tarot. and there was another member of the coven who was an amazing tarot reader, and so they were just coaching me, and you're going to be great at this, and I couldn't do it, and I just came across a Lenormand deck one time, and I just was like, this is my cartomancy. You guys have tarot. I'm going to stick with 36 cards with very simple pictures. And that's about as far as I can go with it.
That's awesome. So you also, I'm just, again, getting to know you as other than what you watch movies together, which is great. Yeah. So by day, you manage a leather and fetish wear shop.
I do.
So is that your community? Are you that community? Is that how?
I am. I'm not as much of a big member of the scene as I used to be. But a number of years ago, this story sounds like it has a lot of tangents, but I promise it all fits in together. Okay. I got sober in 2012, and was sober for a few years, and I'm still sober, but I was kind of wanting to branch out outside of just because all of my friends at that time were in recovery, which was great. I had a wonderful support network, and I still do. But I wanted to branch out a little bit and, kind of explore different things and meet different people. And I had the opportunity to join a leather club, which was it's basically a group of like middle-aged guys who all wear matching vests, but it seemed like a lot of fun. And a lot of the people in my sober network were like, this is a terrible idea. You shouldn't be doing this. You're going to put yourself at risk and your sobriety at risk. And I was like, well, no, I have to do it if everybody's saying no. So I joined this club, and I didn't really know much about the leather community. I didn't know much about kink or anything. But I just kind of stuck around, and ended up several years later, I was president of the club, and I was putting on big leather events. And there was a store at the time that I was kind of working part-time in, evenings and weekends, just kind of helping out where I could. And about 3 years ago, I had left a company that just was not a good fit for me. It was a very corporate job, but they were lovely people, but they were very conservative, and they were very Christian, and there was lots of praying before staff meetings, and it just wasn't the right environment for me. And a new store happened to be opening in my town, and I knew the owner. I'd just been introduced to him a few times. And he said, well, why don't you come work for me until you find what you really want to do? And I said, well, no, why not? Just, it'll be an adventure. It'll be something to write about. And I just sort of ended up staying. So I'm not out at the bars on leather nights anymore, but I am in the store selling people the leather that they go and get to wear and to all the fun events.
I love it.
And then I go home early because I'm exhausted.
It does seem, because I'm, besides my witch community, I'm also in the vampire community, and I know there's a lot, the letter, the kink, to this, to this, to this. And I don't know how or why it goes often hand in hand with the pagan. I guess we're all just different.
It's a subcultural thing. I think it's easy sometimes to kind of drift out of one subculture and into another one. And that being involved in a pagan community really helped me navigate the leather community. And in terms of well, first there was a lot of people named Raven. I was ready for that. But also just in terms of just kind of group dynamics, and being learning how to be welcoming to newcomers, to people who kind of don't really know what's going on, but they kind of want to be a part of this, to dealing with the big fish in small ponds, and learning how to knowing how to kind of navigate around that. getting people with very big, strong personalities to be able to work together. And so it was all things that I had encountered within paganism. So it was just like, it was just that, just with a lot of cowhide.
Yeah, right. Humans, silly humans.
Yes.
I love them. Well, this is fascinating. You are fascinating.
Thank you.
You're going to have to come back. You're going to have to come play with us again on the Witches Movie Coven as well. Are you a movie kind of guy?
Cheesy B-rated witchcraft movies are like, they are absolute passion. I have a vast collection. Somebody will say, oh, this thing happened. I'm like, oh my God, that same thing happened in Race with the Devil, where the RV was driving through South Texas. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's a classic movie. How have you not seen it? Anytime there's a movie with witches in it, I will watch it no matter how horrible it is.
And some of them are very horrible. We love those.
Yes, but one's up for all of them.
Better as kind of, at least for the coven. It is really fun having you again here, and of course coming back to the Witches Movie Coven, because you know both Heather in real life, Lisa, and you know Jason as well, Jason Mankey.
I do. I know both of them. Heather is my editor at Llewellyn. I did not work with her on the Virgo Witch book, but she has been guiding me through my first full-length book. Mm-hmm. And she has been very encouraging and very educational and very patient with me, which is wonderful. But I love working with her. Jason, I actually met through blogging first. I was introduced to him when he was the channel manager for Patheos Pagan. And so he set me up with my Patheos blog. And during that process, we kind of compared notes. And because we both come out of the Gardnerian tradition, we have all these people in common. So we're kind of distant cousins to each other. And so, yeah, I got to work with him on the Modern Witchcraft with the Greek Gods, and we have maintained a wonderful friendship. And I pick on him mercilessly, and I say horrible things about him on my blog, only because I know he knows I'm joking.
And because you love him. And
because I love him.
Jason works that way. Well, that is awesome. So thank you again, and I will see you again hopefully soon on a Wednesday night as well.
I look forward to it.
Anyway, you are delightful. Do you have any words of wisdom for everybody before we go? Because then I want you to tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your books, your essay, everything, your social media. But any words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom, I would say, the first thing that comes to mind is don't be too hard on yourself. When it comes to witchcraft, it is constantly a learning process. We're never going to know all the things that we want to know. So we can be very grateful for the things we have learned, and we can be ambitious about the things that we want to learn. But it's not a race, and there's not a prize at the end. So we can do everything at our own paces.
Words of wisdom indeed. Thank you. Because we do. Again, I get a lot of people just new or discovering the craft, and it's like, I don't know what to do. So thank you. Those are beautiful. So now that everybody is in love with you like I am, where can people find you and your books?
You can find me. You can find me at thumperforge.com. It is a mostly updated website of saying where I'll be and what podcasts I'm going to be on and what events I'll be attending. I blog for Patheos Pagan. So and the name of that blog is Fivefold Law. So if you just Google Patheos and Fivefold Law, it'll come right up. And I had kind of drifted away from blogging for a little while because I was trying to finish a manuscript for Heather. So I'm behind on the blog, but I'm furiously getting caught up and getting new content out. I'm Fivefold Law everywhere. That's my social media handle. And I am I have a bizarrely large TikTok following where for like a middle-aged Gen Xer, I don't know why people on TikTok like me, but they do. And that's, at least I'm entertaining there. But all of that there's links to all of it at thumperforge.com.
Perfect. Thank you. You guys follow him, like him, check him out, check out his books. Again, if you're a Virgo, go get Virgo Witch and figure out why your desk is so much cleaner than mine. And thank you so much for bringing your magic to the witching hour.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.